Well, good morning. In all of your languages, good morning. It is so awesome to be here. It's such an honor to be here. This gathering is, I believe, one of the most important gatherings that we could ever be experiencing. Now, I want you to think about this. The first day after officially Jerusalem becoming known and declared the capital of Israel, and the world watching, and you're experiencing that today. Let's thank God for that. The first time I ever came to Israel was for March for Jesus. That was back in the early 90s. And now we are here for March for Life and March for the Nations. Let's thank God also that the nations are coming to Jerusalem. Let's thank God for that. I believe that is the beginning of Zechariah 14 being fulfilled, which is something we have not seen in the fullness yet. And this will be known as a time where the fullness of God's plan is being accomplished worldwide. So to be here, all of us being here, is just an incredible, incredible blessing. My role is I realize that you have been talking a lot and having to deal with a lot over what has gone on in the past concerning the Jewish people. My role is to decree that captivity is coming to an end and we are going beyond into the future. Let's thank God for that. Now, when I say captivity coming to an end, that doesn't mean warfare is coming to an end. It means that we're making a transition now into a new season. We're making a transition out of what we have known as the last generational season into the future. And I want to show you some of the things that I feel like are very, very important for us to recognize, especially here from Israel. Now, let's look at this. Chad, if you'll begin, we will begin to show you some things. This is a time where things are shifting greatly. Whatever nation you're from, you have to understand that we are having to break out of conventional ways of thinking because we are making a harvest shift. Everyone say harvest. See, we are entering a harvest season, one like we have not seen since the beginning of the early church. And this season is going to be greater, and the glory of the latter house will be greater than the glory of the former. And so this becomes very important as we enter this time. Now, with that, let me share a moment about time. See, time is not linear the way we think, a straight line. Time is circular. You can see the past as you move into the future. But you don't want to live in the past. You want to learn from the past so that you enter into the fullness of God's plan that He has in the future. See, future is not a word that we find from a biblical sense the way we think. Future means expected end. It means we are coming to a time that we have never been in before. We are coming into a place that we know we've seen, but we've never gotten there. So time has 5 different dimensions to it. You have present time. Touch somebody next to you. They're in present time with you. And then there is an aspect of time that is God's accepted time. That means it's a moment that is occurring. Then you have a word called plethora, which is linked with all of a sudden things coming together where there's a fulfillment of time. And that is an incredible moment. And then you have a time from that moment that you can see the future in a way you've never seen it before. And from that, you start bringing God's eternal time plan into a reality in the earth. Now, what I want to say to you is this. Yesterday and today, you are standing where time is aligned. All of these aspects of time are happening right now in Jerusalem. Let's thank God for that. And so we start a new process because, go ahead, Chad, because time has a process. In other words, a process occurs where lots of things come together. And before long, earth and heaven are being linked. Heaven's gates and earth gates are aligning. What is going on right now that is affecting the world is right here in Jerusalem, heaven's gates and earth gates are aligning. And just think about it. You'll be out marching under the alignment of heaven here in the earth this afternoon. It will be an incredible, incredible moment because a window of heaven will be overseeing you as you march the streets of this historical moment. So it becomes very, very unbelievable, really, that God has destined us to be here. Now, with that, we learn that there is a great, significant moment where revelation starts flowing down from heaven to us, and all of a sudden we can perceive in ways we've never perceived before. Now, let's look at that as we move forward. With that, we need to know that the season of 70 is now manifesting. Everyone say 70. See, it becomes surreal that we can be standing here in a moment in history where heaven is manifesting in the earth, and this incredible season of 70 is beginning to become a reality. Never before never after this will our generation be able to see this. So God chose you to be a part of this time. Yeah, that's worth yelling over. Now, well, you have to remember the early church, it wasn't, Jerusalem was not the most vibrant place for the early church in its formation. Remember, through the persecution, Antioch became the real model. But I want to say to you, now we're going to see Jerusalem become a model for God's kingdom plan manifesting. Let's thank God for that one more time. We have great friends here from England, from Germany, from Poland. I met many this morning from China. Those are all nations that God is bringing in great changes in this hour as we move forward. For Germany to take a stand and produce this gathering, and you have to see this. None of this was planned with the embassy coming here, the American embassy coming here when this march was first planned. Do you see how we obey? And as we obey, God realigns heaven and earth. Let's thank God that He is present here in Jerusalem. Now, why do I say the season of 70 is manifesting? See, we're in this season, when you look at it from the Hebraic calendar, that will take us all the way into 2019. And this year is the key year for the manifestation of this particular decade. Something had to happen in this decade that represented the decade. See, that's what makes God sovereign. When we're responding to Him, when we're praying, when we're marching, when we're walking, when we're saying, here in earth, we're in agreement with you. And 70 is a season. What the number means in Hebrew is it's always linked with a season where captivity is broken and you enter into the next phase of freedom. Let's give a shout of freedom from this place. It is called the season of Ayin. That means God is watching. Now, this is very important for us because God is watching how we're moving by faith in the earth. I love the scripture that says, if Yeshua came back today, would He find faith? If He came back to Jerusalem today, He would find faith. Because it has taken faith to produce this march that represents the life of God and the life of the kingdom moving into the future. Now, so Ayin is about watching. So right now, we need to understand we're just not watching from the past, but because we're responding by faith in the present, all of a sudden we can see into the future. You are at an incredible moment in history where you can see beyond what you've ever seen before. We are moving into a place of vision. And without a vision, something happens to a people. They perish. And all of a sudden, God has realigned heaven and earth with His people. And now vision is being loosed from heaven for us to advance into a place of demonstration of kingdom power here in the earth realm. Now, 7 is also linked with, when you look at the number 70, you see every moment of this decade, we're coming to a crossroads. And so here today, when you march, you are producing a crossroad moment in history, a change in the nations of the world, a reconciliation from the past that is producing an open door for the future. And so with that, 70 is also linked with angels. What's happening as we gather here, angelic hosts are coming in. Right here in Jerusalem. And every nation that's being represented, they're going back out to those nations. This is a key moment. And then 70 biblically is linked with sending. This makes this moment the apostolic aligning moment where all of a sudden the church is going forth again. Not only are we seeing back to Jerusalem, from Jerusalem we're sending forth. So this becomes very, very important as we move forward. Now with that, let's look at what right now looks like. 8 is linked with a gate. Today, we will be going through the gate. Say out loud, go through the gate. Gates represent authority. They represent a place of visitation. And right now, the gate is opening up here from the very capital of called Jerusalem that will change the world. When that happens, something has happened that I want to leave with you when I leave today. Now, with that, let's look at this. See, right now, we're in this time of triumph. Everybody say triumph. Now, what triumph means, I wrote about it in one of my books. Triumph means actually you learn to play the trump card. Now, I don't think that, and I shared this 8 years ago, that within 8 years we would come to this place of triumph and we would be playing the trump card. Now, I want to say something, whether we like our President Trump or not, he played a trump card and made a decree that no other president has ever made about God's plan here. When he made that decree, he realigned us to the Word of God. All of a sudden, we are realigned back to God's harvest plan from His Word. This becomes important as we move forward because we are coming into a new move of God, and I believe what you are doing today is accelerating that new move of God. You will be part of initiating a move of God that has never been seen in the earth before. God brought you here to be a part of that, to receive the anointing of that, and to be ready to walk in it when you leave here. Now, with that, I want to say this. I believe right now we are entering into a breakthrough portal. And this portal will last for 3 years. Now, this portal is filled with conflict. Your nation, the church in your nation, and the kingdom remnant in your nation will be in an incredible conflict for the next 3 years to demonstrate God's plan. Not conflict like we've been in the past, but conflict over the harvest of nations. See, the nations are His inheritance, and this conflict is going to be incredible, but it's going to be very rewarding for us. See, warfare is nothing more than just conflict, and God's people, the minute they enter in with and Yeshua becomes part of their life and His Spirit is flowing through them, all of a sudden they take on His conflicts. And I am here to say to you, we are entering into conflict that we will triumph in. Shout triumph. And we will present a great harvest back to Father. where we have overcome in ways that we never thought we could overcome. Now, with that, let me summarize the year as of now. This year is about gates. It's about doors. It's about angels. And all 8s are linked with wealth. It's about wealth. New wealth coming in. New provision for vision. It's about war. Lots of warfare ahead. But it's about overcoming. And the more generosity that we display, the more overcoming we will experience. I cannot imagine the giving that it has taken to get us to this place that we are in today. Let's thank God for the Bittners and all of the giving of this whole team that we are experiencing. This will cause the enemy to flee. And so we're at a very, very peculiar place, an awesome place. And we're receiving keys for our future. Just reach up and say, "Here I am, Lord. Give me my keys to unlock." The first key that we're having to receive is a key over covenant. See, I think you've been hearing how there's been so much anti-expressed toward God's covenant plan in the earth realm, especially over the nation of Israel. Another key is we're having to come into a new identity. Who are we? Things are changing. Jerusalem will not be the same, ever, as of what went on over these last several months. And it's culminating now. It will not be the same because of the activation that's going on here. So we've all got a personal new identity we're going through, as well as we have an incredible corporate identity and national identity. And what you have to do is, one of the keys is the prophetic. How do we war with the prophetic word ahead? How do we move with the prophetic that has been spoken into the prophetic that will be spoken? How do we stay in the abiding place of God? So we're under his wing, and as it says in Psalms 91, in the midst of conflict. And then one key is understanding authority and being aligned properly. See, from nation to nation, we are going through a great shift of alignment. And so this becomes very important. Now, this is what I want to get to and end with today. See, at this new place, we've all been tested. We're all being tested. It's because we're going to carry a new testimony into the future. Well, testimony overcomes. And so we're going to have this new overcoming power as we enter in. We're going to be moving from our test into a place of triumph. And so, don't get discouraged in the midst of your testing. It is producing a new testimony. Now, 8 is linked with, and from that testimony, let's all say this, we're going to go beyond. Everybody say, go beyond. That means go into a place of demonstration you've never been in before. You're going to go past your last confusion. Tell somebody the confusion from the past is lifting off of you. You're going to go into a new level of strength. Strength means the power to withstand attack. You're going to go into this new level of strength that you've never had before. Your faith is going to increase. Look at somebody and say, new faith. Remember, the disciples would pray, increase our faith. And most importantly, a new level of glory is going to manifest. Think of the glory that will be manifesting here in Israel and how that glory will begin to spread to the nations. Amazing. We're going to move into a whole new baptism of His Spirit. A new awakening, a new empowerment is coming. We're going into a new call. Remember, at certain times, He called His disciples. 3 years later, after His crucifixion, He initiated that call on them. We are in the place now of being initiated into a new call. All you've been going through to get up to now is linked with how you're going to be called to accomplish what God has you to accomplish in the future. And most importantly, a new breakthrough is ahead. Let's give a shout over that one. It has been decreed, Jerusalem's identity. You're going to start seeing strongholds begin to fall that never could fall before. Get ready. We are coming under a corporate deliverance for the future. Strongholds in our lives, strongholds in our cities, strongholds in our nation. We're going to start seeing stronghold after stronghold fall. The first one is there will come a great separation in nations. You'll see conflict arising. But I am here to tell you there is triumph in the air and in the hearts of God's people right now. We will triumph in days ahead and see a new harvest being brought in.
이스라엘 선교 전문 방송 브레드 TV. 이스라엘을 위해 기도하고 싶으신데 기도 제목을 잘 모르시겠다고요? 그럴 땐 이스라엘 전문 방송 브레드 TV로 들어오시면 됩니다. 언제 어디서나 시청 가능한 브레드 TV. 매번 주소 검색하시느라 힘드셨죠? 브레드 TV 바로가기 아이콘을 만들면 한 번에 들어가 원하시는 방송을 시청하실 수 있습니다. 브레드 TV 바로가기 아이콘 만들기. 삼성, LG 등 안드로이드 버전입니다. 먼저 인터넷 버튼을 눌러주세요. 그리고 브레드tv.co.kr을 입력. 브레드TV 홈페이지로 이동합니다. 홈페이지로 이동한 후 핸드폰 하단의 메뉴 버튼을 눌러주세요. 여기서 홈 화면에 바로가기 추가. 이 버튼만 누르면 끝이에요. 이제 바탕화면에 생긴 브레드TV 아이콘을 누르시면 한 번에 원하시는 방송을 선택 신청하실 수 있습니다. 다음은 아이폰에서 바로가기 아이콘 만드는 방법입니다. 인터넷 버튼을 누르세요. 그리고 브레드tv.co.kr을 입력. 브레드TV 홈페이지로 이동합니다. 이동 후 화면을 움직이면 핸드폰 하단에 메뉴바가 나옵니다. 여기서 가운데 버튼을 클릭하고 바로 보이는 홈 화면에 추가를 눌러주세요. 그리고 추가 버튼만 누르면 끝입니다. 마지막으로 아이패드에서 바로가기 아이콘을 만드는 방법입니다. 역시 인터넷 버튼을 눌러주세요. 그리고 브레드tv.co.kr을 입력, 홈페이지로 이동하면 주소창 옆에 화살표를 클릭, 홈 화면에 추가 버튼을 누르고 추가를 누르면 끝이에요. 이제 바탕화면에 생긴 브레드TV 아이콘을 누르시면 한 번에 원하시는 방송을 선택 신청하실 수 있습니다.